In this video, we'll attempt the unthinkable, the merging of two worlds, art and nature. Are they polar opposites or two sides of the same coin? And we'll do that by looking at some Lego. Let's go. And with that, welcome back to another look at the Bricklink Designer Program Series 10. We'll be looking at nature, flora, fauna on the one hand, and art and object on the other hand. Voting is over for the Bricklink Designer Program Series 10, but before the final results will be announced in March, I think there's time for some speculation, and we'll jump right in with an honorary mention. This is part of nature, technically. I think it could also be part of castle, could also be part of building. This haunted cemetery I already talked about. I really like this. I hope you all voted for it, and I get to have this, because I want a cemetery like this. I mocked my own a couple months ago, a year ago I think at this point, to go with my haunted house, but I just like another cemetery, and I think this is a cool set. I hope it got enough votes. This is my honorable mention because I already talked about it, right? You find it in the video with this thumbnail down here. But I think we should start with art and object and look at this. This is the Shadow of Jealousy. This is my first pick for the art and object category because there's something about it. I like the title, The Shadow of Jealousy. You see these paper cut figurines in the foreground. They're all in white. And then further back you go, the more colors being introduced, darker colors. There is light bluish gray over here for the shadow for the trees. And then there's dark bluish gray over here, right? You see a person standing there, a bystander, but I think this person is involved. I think he is the jealous one. I guess he's another knight. Obviously, there's a knight kneeling in front of a princess, something like that, in the foreground. I think this is grass and not teeth, and I would assume he's either asking for her hand in marriage or proclaiming his undying love for her. But in the background, we see a black dragon with green eyes. Somebody here is obviously jealous, and again, I think it's this person. I kind of sort of feel like they should be more involved in this. They're very well hidden. I also don't think this will get made like this. For some reason, I think it needs more color in the white over here. I think you need light tan at the very least to get more details, right? I like it. I think it's good looking. It's by Rock Monstrosity, which is an awesome name. And for the art object category, I think this is a strong contender. I don't think it's going to get made without any changes. I think we will see this again in a future series, and for good reason. It is good. There are some elements to it that I just don't like. It's just a little too white in the foreground, and I don't really like this dragon. I don't think you need these wings. I think you should focus on the head and make that more intricate, get more details out of that. I like that the eyes are, you can shine a light through them. I don't need the nostrils though. And I think this character should be more prominent. Other than that, for art and object, strong contender. Moving on to the idea box. And this is a cool little set. It has a feature technically, even though it technically also kind of doesn't. Right? There's supposed to be a light brick in there, which you can push down on. And then, you get this light bulb effect. You suddenly have a great idea, which is cool. That's a cool concept. I like that one a lot. However, light bricks are unfortunately not part of the palette, right? So you can't actually include them in your submission for BDP 10 at the very least. Maybe in the future they will change that. A light brick is somewhat expensive. I guess if you buy them on their own, I think they're like $5. You can just order them from Pick a Brick online. Lego does sell them to you, but they're not in this set. There's a placeholder in here, the size of a light up brick, and then you can just replace that and get that feature. But as a desk set, for somebody who works creatively, somebody who has to come up with ideas all the time, this is cool. Every time you have a great idea, you hit the thing, right? And it has, some storage. You can unlock this and open the drawer over here and then put something in there. Maybe a treat. Maybe whenever you have a nice idea, pop out the drawer and treat yourself. I think the idea is really good. I like the way it looks. I like the colors. This is a strong contender. I think this is a cool object in this category. I don't know whether or not Lego will then, if they're really convinced this is a good idea and we should be doing this, maybe they'll actually include the light brick. I think that's not totally impossible. This set is by Jeffrey Bean, and I think this is cool. But there are more objects in this category. This is the Anatomy of the Human Heart by Martin Studio 98. And if this gets made, I just have one tiny problem with it. I think Lego would want this available for a longer time, because every med student's mom is gonna buy this, right? And gift it to their, future doctor. I think it's cool. I like that you get both a 3D object of what I would assume is the correct anatomy of the human heart, and then get a little framed picture as well, which maybe gives you more information. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, I'm just a teacher, so I don't know. This is a cross-section of the human heart, and I think for people who are interested in this sort of thing, I think this is cool. I think every med student will then eventually have this. The thing is it something that is probably better suited for Lego ideas than it is for the Bricklink Designer Program? That's the only thing that I have holding this back in my mind. I might be mistaken though, but I really like the details of it. I think this is fat, right? The light 10 pieces over here. Whenever I've seen actual human hearts, I think that's what it looked like. I think this is a really strong contender. I think I've seen it before. It must have been submitted before. Maybe now is the time for it to get picked. It only has 592 pieces, and there's always the opportunity for small sets to shine in the Bricklink Designer Program, right? It's not just massive castles all the time. Sometimes you have the chance with a smaller set like that. Think of Walt. But let's go back to art. And this is the art of Japan. And I think this is stunning. I think this should win hands down. I think this is never going to win. There's one thing that really, really speaks against this kind of set right now. If you buy into the theory that Lego does not do stuff in the Bricklink Designer Program that they wanted to do themselves, even though it's not the same thing, but thematically very close to it, then you run into a problem. And I feel like this is too close to what they are doing right now in their own art subtheme with the new postcards, right? The new 3D postcards, the Paris City of Love set. I think this is too close to that. And that's holding that back. I don't think they'll ever go for this as long as they do that. And they will be doing that for quite some time. I do think that we'll get more of these 3D postcards. Scaled up, artsy looking postcards. And that's exactly what this is. Even though this is fantastic, I do not believe that Lego would do a better one. This is outstanding. It's by HPM and it perfectly encapsulates Japan for me. Have the flag in the background as the setting sun. That's just cool. I really like that it's black and white. This is fantastic. I love this set, but I don't think Lego would do it. It's basically exactly the same thing as the Paris City of Love postcard arts set they do right now, right? From the frame and the 3D aspect of it, this is much better. I would never buy the Paris in Love one. I would absolutely buy this one. I find it frustrating and I find it sad that I don't believe that this will get chosen because of that. Has 894 pieces, a good size for the Bricklink Designer Program, but I just don't see it. That's very unfortunate, but there's something else in this category that I think they might actually do. And it's another painting. It's the moon. We already talked about the moon, but the thing is, with good art, right, it stays with you for some time. You think about it. And this is something that I needed to think about a little more. It was in my initial response in my first look video, but I thought about it a little more. I read the description, and I think I understand it now a lot better than I did before, and I like it a lot better than I did before. Let's jump in. One giant leap for mankind. The way the moon looks, all these craters, all these intricate small little details, that's awesome. I am just in love with the surface of this moon, right? You have the white, you have light bluish gray, you have dark bluish gray, you have dark blue in the background, and then black at the bottom. And just these few colors, I mean, they're not even colors, right? They really make you get the impression of our moon. By the way, the other day I read, why does our moon not have a cool name like Calypso? Good question. Well, the answer is that it was named the moon before the other moons were even discovered. But this moon, this Lego moon, is cool. I like the way how they did the stars in the background, right? Just, create a little cutout with these little 1x1 tiles. And then have a couple more stars with studs. The surface is awesome, and then I also like the stuff that goes with it. You have this lunar lander and this capsule, which you can detach if you don't want them, if you just want it as an art piece hanging on your wall. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's a Lego set and you probably do want that. I like that you can see the Earth over here. I like the scale. This is, and you know, the different phases of the moon. This is such a cool set, such a cool idea. I understand it, and by I understand, I mean I read the description. This has gone through many iterations. This has been proposed for Lego ideas as well. And I think it's home here. I think, for me, this is the winner of the art object category. Obviously, there are too many categories and not enough sets in every series, right? Right now, there are 9 different categories, but only 5 sets will be chosen. So, naturally, not every category will have an actual winner, right? We'll disregard that for the purpose of this video and the videos to come. Even if you group some of them, like I did, this is art object and nature, flora, fauna, then you still end up with like 6 categories for 5 sets. So something, unfortunately, will not get made because there's not enough sets in any given series. Maybe the Bricklink Designer Program will change that in the future. This model over here is the lunar lander in 1969, when the Americans finally won the space race, or the first iteration of the space race, if you will, and subsequently visited the moon. This is where Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong would have been inside and then landed on the moon's surface, while this is the command capsule where Michael Collins, the 3rd astronaut in Apollo 11, would have, you know, stayed behind and made sure that everything is okay with them and stayed in contact with Houston, I assume. Good. This is the moon. You can detach it from its base. I don't really know what you would do with it like that, other than play Frisbee. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. I still like the idea that you can flip it around. That's probably why you can actually remove it. You remove it only because you want to turn it around, right? And show people, you know what? If you were to ever visit the southern hemisphere and look at the night sky, this is what the moon would look like, right? It's upside down over there, or it's upside down for us. Really depends on your perspective. But that's a really cool feature they incorporated in here. I couldn't care less for the googly eyes. I think the moon, this project by Sharky Bricks BL, is worthy of a spot in the final of Series 10. But now we talked enough about art and object. I think I'll take you ice fishing. Let's go to nature, let's go to flora, let's go to fauna. All of these sets will be minifig scale, and yes, you can now tell me, I skew too much towards city layouts and stuff like that. That's okay. What else do you want me to do? That's what nature, flora, fauna is probably most about. It's about adventures in nature, and that's what these sets are about. And I like ice fishing a lot. I think this is a cool little set. I even like the minifigs, they are usable, right? You can do something with them. They have skis, they have a sled, they have a couple of fish they can roast, there's a squirrel in the background. What more could you ask for? There's even a little fox. This is cool. I like how they did this, right? They used these pieces with the railing, plates with the railing on the side to create this track. I think this is a fantastic idea, a cool little detail. And I even like the way, you know, when we build Mills plates and stuff like that with water features, we dig into the Mills plate, and they did something like that. It's a popular mock technique, and I think this looks really good. All the pieces used, sideways built for the surface over here, the little trees. This is a cool little set that sells me the illusion of an ice fishing adventure. I now want to go ice fishing. I'm not a camping guy and I never want to do that, but this set by The Forge really makes me want to consider this. And at 541 pieces, this does make a strong contender for a spot in the finals. There's more stuff in this category which is kind of samey-ish. This is Cabin Retreat. I like it because I like the hut, I like the trees. This is another one of those camping-related, cabin-related nature set. If this thematically reminds you of more sets that we already had in the Bricklink Designer Program, then yeah, absolutely, more of the same. People like more of the same. That's why we do that. That's why there are so many castles. It reminds me of the Sequoia tree and other camping-related sets that have already been done. But I think this is a cool looking one, and why not get another one for people who really like these displays. This is by Tailor Made Brick and comes in at 2,186 parts, so not maxing out the 4,000 part limit, and maybe enough people voted for this. It is not my favorite theme in general. I like other things more. I'm not a camping kind of guy. But Riverbend Retreat, Autumn Riverbend Retreat is another set like that, right? Another small diorama which focuses on stuff you do while you're out and about in nature. But I mean, it's the nature of the beast, right? This is just what this category is like. I used to go kayaking when I was a kid. I went on an extensive kayak trip in southern France when I was a teenager. I think this is cool. I like it. I don't really get how this lamppost gets here. This I associate with a city, and it shouldn't be in the countryside, if you ask me. On the other hand, it does fill the space out quite nicely. And this bridge is also not something I'd expect to see in the countryside. The kayak, the tree, the rest of it, the pumpkins, that looks like countryside to me. And then there are features of it which look good and I like, but they don't really go together, right? Which is why ultimately I decided against picking this as my winner. 1,000 parts, good size, always a good idea if you want to do something in a category that you don't know will not get picked at all, to stay way under the limit of 4,000. There's another set that we'll be looking out for now, and this is my choice for a lookout tower. There are several others proposed in this series. They all look good. I think this one looks the best. This is by Houti Outi 5 and comes in at 3,719 parts. So very, very part intensive, obviously, but it's big, right? You get something. These parts are used to create a presence in the room. I think this would, for example, look good next to the Sequoia Tree 1 that we got a while back. I just like both of these little cabins. Is this a bathroom? A washroom? Yeah, it's a little outhouse, right? I think that's cool, perfectly whimsical, fits Lego very well. They love doing stuff like that. But you get another building and a reindeer as well. I find that a little random, but okay. The lookout tower just looks good. And look at this little space. Don't you want to spend some time there just looking out into nature? It reminds me a little bit of Far Cry 5, right? Which takes place in Montana. And I think there are lookouts like this in that game. I would like to have this, even though I'm not a nature guy. I'm a very much inside person, right? Lego. But I think this looks cool. I like it. I think the tree will need some help though. If this gets chosen and I pick it up, I would try to make a couple of changes to the tree. Maybe it's like that because it needs to provide some support for this staircase. I can imagine that. But I really like that down here, you know, the bark has been chewed off by, for example, this reindeer. Cool set, I like it. There's even a generator down here, which is a nice touch, right? But here's the thing. When these finalists go live, when pre-order starts for Series 10, it will not be fall or autumn. It will be winter. And that's why my winner is Winter Adventure. I think thematically, Lego likes to do stuff like that. They won't then be coming out in winter. They'll be coming out in summer, right? Half a year later. So middle of 2027, probably around June. But the pre-order starts in winter, which makes me feel like maybe they'll actually pick a winter set. And this one I actually had on my shortlist for my initial response to the Bricklink Designer Program Series 10, right? The first look video. There simply were too many sets in that video, so I had to cut something out. And unfortunately, it was this. But for Nature, Flora, Fauna, I think this is a good set. I like this a lot. This ski lift, this section of a ski lift is really cool. Especially, you know, where I live at the heart of the Alps, in the center of the Alps, in Austria, where we have so many mountains. This is a cool set. People will like this. People will eat this up. I 100% believe that. I really like how they played with the cold and snow and ice in this set. This ladder is white because it has been snowing onto it. The rest of them, you know, the ones up here are black. I like the little trees. And I just think this build, this section over here, that just looks fantastic to me. This is just a Technic brick, right? And still all of these little details tell me, give me the illusion this is an actual ski lift. There's this flex tube that you can see at the ends over here and over here. Very simple. But You know, it's a section of a ski lift. It looks cool. I like the cabin as well. This person looks very scared because he's about to jump out of here. So what happened? There is a little story in there as well, right? Somebody had a medical emergency. A doctor had to come. Maybe the lift doesn't work anymore. And now they have to get this person down via this rope. If you're not familiar with the concept of après-ski over here, look it up. Cool thing. Maybe you want to go sometime. I like this set a lot. I think this is really cool. Yeah, and this little side build, an emergency vehicle that, you know, rescues somebody who's trapped way up there near the mountaintop, I guess, where, you know, all the skiing takes place. This is cool. I think this is good. And there's even another dog. If you've seen other videos in this series, there are so many dogs in Series 10 of the Bricklink Designer Program. But Winter Adventure by Jack Brick Lover. It comes in at 1,631 pieces. I think that's reasonable. That's a good size for nature, flora, fauna for this category. I think this will win its category. And if you disagree with my picks, if you disagree with my methodology, if you think I focus on minifig scale stuff way too much, tell me down there in the comments. That's what they're there for. If you're down there and you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like. Why not sub to this channel if you haven't? Really helps out the algorithm. And I'll see you very soon with another category from BDP Series 10. Until then, bye-bye.
Welcome to my ant card. This is just a hangout. Yeah, I'm a crank that shit. Bro, that's so damn loud. It's nothing but a little intermission. Enjoy these soothing bars of utter indecision. Buddy people, you can trust me. It's an ant card. I know all those fire jokes and get you saying hard. It's an ant card. This shit ain't some voodoo, bro. I know you want to stay, but it's time for you to go.